What's up guys, Tamarakshan here. The new budget phone from Realme is the Realme Narzo 30. Well, its pricing starts at 12,499 Indian rupees, and that's a very competitive one, especially when you check the features offered in the Narzo 30. But as of now, a trend is that almost every week there will be a phone launch and the competition gets very stiff in a short time. So in such a scenario, is the Narzo 30 a good option to consider? Well, this video is all about that. Now here, if we pull up the spec sheet of the Narzo 30, well, for this price, the features offered are actually pretty good. The display is a Full HD one with 90Hz refresh rate, and the processor used is the MediaTek Helio G95, and here the main camera is a 48 megapixel one, and also the battery is a 5000 mAh battery. So these are all great in paper for the price, but in reality, paper stuff is not what matters, but instead it's the real world usage experience that matters. Now usually if the specs are good, the experience shouldn't be disappointing if the optimization is done in a neat manner. And here for a budget phone, the Narzo 30 is doing a decent job. Because if you are a person who is not a heavy user, well then you won't have any complaints about the Narzo 30. But on the other hand, if you are falling for the marketing, thinking that this phone will perform great and this is an excellent gaming option, well then you might be disappointed. Now the variant I tested is the base one, and hence the RAM available is just 4GB and also the internal storage is just 64GB. And here the storage part was not a concern for me because it can be expanded with the SD card and it's a dedicated slot. But this RAM, well in 2021, 4GB is kind of very low. And with the Narzo 30, if you want to get the better 6GB variant, well then the pricing creeps into the 14,500 Indian rupees mark. And that pricing is kind of like entering into a bit more tougher segment, and that's the reason I did go for the base variant. And with this variant, if you're a casual user, you won't bump into much obstacles. Regular apps, they all open at a moderate speed and also they work well. If internet browsing, texting, calling, casual gaming or occasional photo clicking is all that you're gonna do, well then the Narzo 30's performance and the experience is not at all complainable. And while doing such things, other than the slight hiccups at times, well the user experience is mostly issue-free. But here if you play a moderately graphic-heavy title like Asphalt 9, well even though the game loads and starts well and also the frame drops are not much, well the phone heats up pretty quickly. Now the gameplay is totally fine, but the eating part is something that creates a discomfort. And this happens in a short time, like after 5 to 10 minutes of gameplay. And hence I didn't prefer to play such games for an extended period of time in the Narzo 30. Now here these issues can be because of the software optimization, and here even though Realme's UI based on Android 11 is neat with stock Android hint used at places, well I feel Realme needs to do a bit more into optimizing things. And at present, well overall about the performance, keep your expectations in the usual level, and if you do that, well even though the RAM management is aggressive with just 4 light apps staying open in memory with this 4GB RAM variant, casual usage pattern is totally fine. So that's everything about the performance, and here if you're a user who is comfortable with the above mentioned performance, well then you might be wondering about the display in the Narzo 30. This display is a LCD panel and it's a Full HD one whose size is 6.5 inches. And here the striking thing about this display is the refresh rate, which is 90Hz. And this faster refresh rate, well to an extent it does make the scrolls and swipes smooth, but still it didn't feel like a butter smooth experience that we usually get from higher refresh rate panels. Still for this price, this is a great feature, and also the Full HD resolution is again an excellent feature for this price. Now about the viewing experience, well contents does look sharp and also color reproduction is neat, but here the budget tagline part is evident in the overall quality. If you're watching a video or playing a game, or even if you're scrolling through photos, and if all these things are done in a straight viewing angle, well then you will have an enjoyable experience. But if you're a person who's keenly looking for a flaw, well you can easily find that out because here the backlighting is not even, especially in the hole punch camera area, and also the viewing angles are just fine. But then about the peak brightness, it's adequate, so outdoor usability is not an issue. Well usually with the phone in this price range, the main core stuff we will focus on the display side is the experience while viewing contents, and for that, well this display in the Narzo 30 can be given a 4 out of 5 rating. And to back this display, the audio output is decent. It's a single firing speaker unit, and for the segment this phone falls into, I have no complaints about that, and yet this unit does output clear audio at a moderate loudness level which can fill up a small size room. And if in case you want to take the audio listening experience to a better level, well headphone jack is available, so if you have a wired headphone you can connect that. And this port has decent quality, and actually the Bluetooth part is better because here the Bluetooth version is 5, and while using a Bluetooth headphone, the connection was staying solid. But then about the earpiece, it didn't sound that good, and hence I'll rate the calling experience very average. And like this, another area which is also of average quality is the build of the phone. Now about the design, I like it. It has a bold character with this shiny V-stripe pattern, and the camera layout does blend well, and the form factor is not very huge, and also the back plastic is grippy. But here the build quality felt to be cheap. I mean, there was a bit of creaking noise, and also the back plastic portion does show slight depressions while pressing. But at present there isn't any gap or flexing issue, and here the buttons does provide decent feedback, but still the above mentioned things along with the uneven weight distribution does make me rate the build quality as average. Well, for this budget, you can consider these issues to be fine, and you can even fix some of these issues by using the provided transparent case. But then with this design, if Realme would have thought of providing a slightly better build, well, that would have been actually great. Because here a great thing is this power button mounted fingerprint scanner. It's very fast, and also 95% of the time it's accurate. And I feel in this budget, it's one of the best fingerprint scanners. And by the way, about the vibration feedback, well, it's the usual budget type one, which is the prominent buzzing type, so there isn't anything special with that. Now here, a key area that Realme promotes in their marketing is the camera system of this phone. And the numbers of the main camera and the front one is very eye-catching, so let's now check how well the camera system of this phone performs. On the back, there are 3 cameras in which the main sensor is a 48 megapixel one and its aperture is f1.8. Then the other 2 cameras are just the marketing cameras, which are totally unusable because they both are 2 megapixel cameras. But this main sensor is actually a good one, especially for the price. In a condition where light is available, well then the shots are impressive. Colors look sharp with a bit of saturation, and also you get a natural bokeh effect which makes the photos look nice, and also dynamic range is good. I really do like these pictures taken in outdoor conditions, and I feel this is a strong point to highlight about this camera. But then as soon as you move into a dull lighting condition, well then the camera takes a U-turn in photo quality. The quality degrades drastically, and here even though night mode option is available, the outcome is poor. But then while recording videos, the max resolution supported is 4K at 30 fps, and here this video was recorded in 1080p at 60 fps setting, and in such a setting, stabilization is fine and colors look good, and also when we tap to focus, the focusing happens at a decent speed. And for this price, I do like the video output. And in fact, the front 16 megapixel camera also does a good job both with photos and videos. There is processing happening with selfies, and here the smoothing effect is noticeable, but still since the selfies are sharp and detailed, I did like it. And the same is applicable with the front camera video, and in that the smoothing effect is not present, which is a much better thing. So overall in this budget, the main camera and the front camera are both good, and hence this phone's camera marketing hype is real for the price. And I actually like this. Another good thing about this phone is the battery backup. Battery capacity of the Narzo 30 is 5000 mAh, and here with the settings turned to their maximum state, I did get a screen on time in the 6 hour to 6.5 hour range. And that's a good number because here this screen on time was obtained with a moderately intense use pattern. And hence if you are a light user, this phone's battery will last you for 1.5 to 2 days maximum. And when this battery drains out, well, you can charge it to 100% from 0% in about 1 hour 10 minutes with the included 30 watt charging brick and the USB-C to USB-A charging cable provided. And this charging speed is really fast, especially while comparing with the competitors. And some of the last things to note is that the Wi-Fi version is dual band Wi-Fi, and here all the needed important sensors are present. But then if you are thinking about ingress protection, which is water and dust resistance, well that's not present, and also the phone obviously doesn't have any fancy wireless charging method. And after checking all this, one clear thing is that the Realme Narzo 30 is indeed a good option for this price. Since Realme used the Helio G95 chipset, my expectation about performance was a bit high, and after testing, well that felt to be a disappointment because of the occasional lag and mainly because of the heating issue. But then for this price, I think that expectation needed to be brought down by forgetting about what's inside, and when I looked at things in such a manner, well then the user experience even with this 4GB RAM variant was really satisfactory. And on top of that, the display is a decent one for content consumption, and here the audio side is fine, and given the fact that the camera system is good and also the battery backup being sufficient, well all of this did lead to an enjoyable experience from a phone in this segment. And that's what really matters, and in that regard, even though there are flaws, the Realme Narzo 30 is a good one for the price it's selling. That's all for this video. Hope you liked it. If so, please don't forget to hit the like button, and also please do subscribe because you won't miss our future contents, and it does help the channel a lot. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye.